Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today is a beautiful warm day and I finally have time to get the garden planted. So today in this video, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be hanging out in the garden, getting the rest of the starts that I have planted. I also have seeds to get planted, and we'll check out all the stuff that I already have in the garden. Some are doing really well, some are not doing so good. So we will go ahead and look at all of that and how it's going. I have got my starts, most of them, all the ones that aren't planted yet, on the front porch. They've been on the front porch for 2 or 3 weeks probably at least, so they are definitely adjusted to the outside and the sun and the wind and rain, and they've been waiting to go into the ground. I didn't put them in earlier because we always have a chance of frost, and it's never really safe until the end of May to put them in the ground. I do have covers, but not for everything. So I have got right here all of my tomato starts, all of my cucumber starts, which there's about approximately 70 something each, but I probably won't be putting all of those in. I like to have extra. I was thinking about spacing them a little bit further apart than I did last year. I did them every 12 inches last year, and I felt like they could use a little bit more space just for me, so that I can harvest a little bit easier, and so that I can prune them and stuff a little bit easier as well, because it can get kind of hard to get in there and get the suckers and stuff off when they're that close. But I've also got my jalapeno peppers and my green peppers, and I've got a bunch of herbs as well. So I've got calendula, yarrow, stevia, bee balm, lemon balm, chamomile, mint, and then I've also got a few watermelons and a few zucchini squash to go in as well. I think that's about it. My daughter and I are pretty excited this year because we are growing some new peppers. We're doing some Dill peppers, which is a very hot pepper. We want to make some hot sauce and can it this year, so we're pretty excited about that. We don't want them to cross-pollinate, so we are keeping them in pots up on the front porch here, and I'll probably even move them to the other end of the porch just to give them a little extra distance from the garden. The garden's around the back side of the house a ways, so but I'll show you guys all of these plants, and I'm gonna take these out to the garden. I've been weed eating and getting the garden all cleaned up today, and I still need wood chips. I ran out of wood chips, and I need to go and get some more wood chips from somewhere, because we had a huge pile of wood chips from last year in the fall that we got for free, and so I thought that that would go very far and cover the whole garden, but it ended up not. I've got about 1.5 rows that I was not able to cover with my wood chips. So the jalapenos will be planted today without wood chips until I go and get some. But I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll check out how the garden's doing. Alright, so before I start planting, I have a few things I have to do. I have to get the covers that I had for the cold crops out of here, and all the rocks and stuff I had to hold those in place, and I'll take all the little hoops off. I shouldn't need those anymore. And I'm gonna get my trellis put up. So I've already got my T-posts and everything in place. I just need to put the rods across the top, and I'm laying out my netting. I want to string up the netting first as well, so that I can kind of plant. I was thinking planting, this is where my tomatoes will be, and I'm going to plant kind of front, back, front, back, front, back, so that as they grow, the trellis is pulled equally on both sides and not just to one side, if that makes sense to you. As you can see, like I said, I've got about 1.5 rows that I was not able to cover. So for now, that's what it is. Hopefully, actually later today, I'll be able to get some more. I'll just have to pay for it. But that's okay. I've got my stakes down there. That's going to be where my jalapenos are. So I'm going to go ahead and just get them staked out right away so I don't have to worry about it later on. This is where the cucumbers are going to be. So again, I'm going to go ahead and get the trellises up for that as well. I just want to make sure that all of my netting is intact. I didn't have them put in like a box or a tote or anything. They were just on a shelf in the barn, and so I want to make sure no mice got into them or something and I got holes or something crazy, because they're so long. They're 60-foot nets, these ones, and then I have 2 more like 13-foot or something that go at the end, because my rows are 70-foot long, and so they don't sell these nets long enough locally. So if I need new ones to order, I want to know now and not later on. So also these sprinklers, I kind of mentioned these in my very last garden video from last year, saying that I got them on sale for a really good price, so I went ahead and bought them. And I thought that they say 45-foot diameter, but I did not realize that this type of sprinkler needs a lot of water pressure, and so I'm not sure that they're gonna work in my garden, unfortunately. I may be able to use them one at a time. I will not be able to string them both together like I had planned, because we just don't have enough water pressure apparently out here at the barn. I have not hooked it up to the water spout at the house, and perhaps we have better water pressure there. I haven't tried it out yet, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for watering at this point. I will try that out probably later today, hook that up and see if I can get those working. But honestly, with the cover and a good Michigan rain, we don't need to water a whole lot. But the tomatoes and stuff definitely needed more water last year. So that's where we are right now. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this stuff, the covers and stuff, put away. And then we'll look at how some of these crops are doing that we already have in the ground. Alright, so I did get the tarps and all the rocks and stuff out of the garden. And so far I just got the tomato trellis up most of the way. I got another 10-foot section down there to put up. My net is not in great condition. As you can see, there's several spots where they are broken, but I think they'll do for this year, and probably next year I'll have to replace them or do something different. But I've started planting the tomatoes. That's the first thing I've started planting today. So I've just got 2 tomatillos here at the end, this one and this one. I forgot to leave space. I was gonna put a calendula here at the end, but I guess this row won't get one. And then so I've got the 2 tomatillos, and then I've got San Marzano, and I planted 4 of them. So these 4 here are the San Marzano. And then I started doing Bonnie's Best, which is what I'm still working on right now. These ones are significantly larger than those ones. So I did decide to do more spacing than I did last year. So I think I said earlier, last year I did all of my tomatoes and cucumbers 12 inches apart, and although it worked great and they grew great, for me, pruning them and stuff was kind of a pain. It was a little bit tight, so it was hard to get in there, especially on certain varieties. So this year I thought I would space them further apart. So I decided to go with 16 inches apart instead of 12. So I was gonna go 18, but I just couldn't do it because over the course of a 70-foot row, you lose quite a few plants by going that much. So I decided to do 16 inches apart and see if that makes a difference. And also, like I said, I'm trying to do them kind of staggered, a little bit to the front and then a little bit to the back, little front, little back, so that they will go kind of on either side of the trellis. So one will be on the front of the trellis, then one on the back side, front, back, so that it'll kind of even out the weight on the trellis so that it won't all be on one side, pulling to one side. They'll kind of, that's the idea anyways. We'll see if it makes a difference, but that's what I'm doing right now. I've got 12 more of my Bonnie's Best starts. This is my first year growing this variety, so I'm pretty excited about these. I've heard a lot of great things about them, and they sound pretty awesome, so that's what I'm going to do. I am growing like all paste tomatoes basically this year. We don't really eat a whole lot of slicing cucumbers, and when we do, or potatoes, tomatoes, whatever, we don't really eat a whole lot of just sliced tomatoes. We, even when we do, we have no problem cutting up a Roma tomato or any other paste tomato. So that's what I decided to do this year because it's all about the canning and preserving, and I think it'll be a lot nicer with these varieties. So that is what I'm doing now. I grow my starts in these little square, I think they're 3-inch little pots, and I use, for most things, I grow 4 in each. I kind of put them toward the corner like you saw, and then I pull them out. I dig 4 holes at once. That's a little bit easier, measure them out. And then for the tomatoes, I sprinkled a little bit of fertilizer in and around the hole, and then I'm just putting them in here. Actually want that a little bit deeper. So the tomatoes I like to do a little bit deeper because I know that they're gonna root out on the stems, and I usually pull these first leaflets off as well when I stick them in. And then I pull the wood chips back up. Alright, and then I just do that for all 4. And then once I'm done, I go through with my water can kind of as I go and just give them a little bit of water as well. If you guys were wondering what kind of fertilizer I'm using, it's the Garden Tone. I don't know if it's the best or anything, but it's what I have available to me, and it's affordable. I got this 18-pound bag for $19.99, which I thought was good. And I can use it for pretty much everything in the garden. And it's organic. I've used their other products like their Holly Tone and Tree Tone and stuff with good results. So that's what I'm using. I think it's a pretty good product. I haven't really used a whole lot of other products, so I can't really compare it, but for the most part we just use compost and you know, manure from the animals on the farm. So but this is actually the first year I've put it in, or you know, fertilized while planting right away. So I use this on the onions and stuff too when I planted them this year. So I just thought some of you might be curious to know. I just got done digging all of my holes for my tomatoes. I wanted to see exactly how many were going to fit all the way down to the end, and I was able to fit 7 basically every 10 foot. So I have 31 more I can plant. I wanted to make sure that I would have enough for each variety and how many I want of each variety. So I dug each hole, measured them out every 16 inches, dug out the hole, sprinkled a little fertilizer around each hole, and now I can see I have 31 spots left. So I'm gonna decide exactly how many of each of the varieties I want to plant. It's starting to get a little bit breezy here, so hopefully it doesn't affect my sound quality again. But right now, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So far I planted 11 of the Bonnie's Best, and I have 12 more. And then I still have Amish Paste and a few Romas. So I want at least 8 of each of those. I'm going to kind of talk myself through this and decide. I think I want more Amish Paste than Romas. So I'd say at least 8 Romas, and then the rest between the Bonnie's Best and Amish Paste. I really love the Amish Paste. They're a lot like Aroma, but they are much, much bigger. They're huge, and they're very prolific. They were really good last year, so I definitely want more of the Amish Paste than the Romas. But I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna have to decide how many of each I want to put in there. Alright, this is the last row here in the garden, row number 10, and I just planted this entire 70-foot row with sunflowers, the giant sunflowers. So they should be like 12 foot tall, big, huge, 12-inch heads. And yeah, hopefully they come out good. Hopefully I have a good germination rate. I planted them every 12 inches, and I put 2 seeds per hole, and I figured I will transplant any that I need to fill in. If I have extras in one hole, I can transplant that to another to fill it in, and hopefully we get a whole row. We'll see how that turns out. Still don't have the cucumbers in, which will go here, and I still have to put the trellis up, and I still have to go and get wood chips somewhere for these. This is where the jalapenos are going to go on this end, and corn over there on the other end. I wanted the corn between the tomatoes and the cucumbers, so that they would kind of, my idea anyway, is that they would help to be kind of a windbreak. Having the 2 tall trellised plants on either side, it would help to have a windbreak and help the corn to not get blown over. And I may or may not stake the corn as well, just to make sure all the tomatoes are in and looking amazing. So that makes me super happy. This is going to be green beans down at the other end. I think I'll probably plant those next, because those are going to be seeds as well. At this end, I think, is going to be the squash, the zucchini squash. I'm only going to plant 4, 5, 6 at most, probably, of those. So those will probably go here. I can't remember. I'm going to have to go and look at my paper. This row is already planted to that blue flag, and these are broccoli, and they have 2 onions between each. So here's a broccoli, and 2 onions. And as you can see, I am missing, I can't remember, I think I left this open for a calendula flower. I can't remember for sure. So I'm missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of my broccoli got eaten. You can see one right here. That was a broccoli, and it was eaten right off. So I have to think about whether I want to plant new starts there. I'll have to start them, and I'm gonna have to do my calculations to make sure that I have enough time even. But that was rather disappointing. This broccoli is doing really well though. And then right in front of that is, these are potatoes. I wrote it down in my notebook, but I can't remember which variety I planted where. So I've got one variety of potatoes here till that blue flag, and then the other end that you see, the blue flag to the end, is the other variety. And then right there in the middle, I've started digging, and that is going, I'm about to plant the dill seed there. So that'll be dill between the potatoes. Dill's really good at warding off pests, so I'm trying to plant stuff around, kind of companion planting that'll help keep away pests. Last year I had really bad potato bugs, and so I thought, I want these by the onion, I want these by the dill. I want to try and ward off pests naturally with companion planting. So right here is the cabbages that we planted. This is a calendula. And I got I think the strawberry blonde calendula, so I can't wait to see what those look like in the garden this year. And these are all the same cabbages from last year, the Dutch cabbages. These are really, really big cabbages. And I planted 2 onions between each cabbage. So the cabbage are definitely doing the best. I only lost a few. This one has a couple bites off it, but it's doing good. It's just a little smaller. This one's got a little bit of eating off of it. And overall, the cabbages are doing amazing. So here's a missing one. I'm missing one. And actually this one is still here. It's just pretty small and a little eaten. So I think I'm only missing 1 or 2. And then right here is more onions. And unfortunately, this is where my tragedy struck. Starting right here at this little marker, this was the cauliflower. So I should have a cauliflower here, 2 onion, cauliflower here, 2 onion, and they are all gone, every single one of them. Not a single cauliflower left. This is the only one left, and look at it. It's destroyed. 1 leaf left on the plant. So I'm gonna have to figure out, same thing with the broccoli. Do I start new plants? Do I start them from seed, direct sow them? Do I start new starts inside? Do I have enough time? So it's pretty unfortunate. Last year was the first year at this property, so our first year in the garden. And yeah, so I've had a lot of pests with the brassicas. But I've got a calendula here. The end of each row is supposed to have a calendula. This whole row is onions, the second row. And I got, this row is all, so far, green peppers. So I spaced the green peppers 12 inches apart. And they're pretty tiny, but that's okay. They will grow up big and strong. I put these in the front row, and the jalapenos are going to be in the second to last row. So I put these in the front row, and then the jalapenos will be on the other side, second to last row. So I'm trying to just space the peppers out as far as possible to just reduce the amount of cross-pollination that I get. Because it seems like the jalapenos get less mild and the green peppers don't change at all. So, and I want the peppers to be pretty spicy. Alright, so the dill is planted. I'm just going to cover it up a little bit. love growing dill for my homemade home-canned pickles. I hate having to buy dill at the store, although I do usually like to have some fresh flower heads and some dried. This year I would like to try to collect some of the seeds from my own plants and have some dried as well. That would be cool. I have a pretty good amount here. It was a whole seed packet, so we'll see how it goes. I always have good success with growing dill. It's pretty easy and maintenance free, and I'm just using it kind of in a strategic location to hopefully help out some of the other plants that tend to be high maintenance and have issues, have pests and stuff. So hopefully we can get the soil doing a lot better, getting a lot healthier over the next few years, and hopefully have less pests over time. But that is, of course, everybody's goals. I have never struggled as much with pests as I am here. So it looks like there is some rain in the forecast, so that will be nice to start the seeds off right. Get the garden nice and wet. I'm just gonna probably lightly water everything just in case it doesn't rain. But it is supposed to. Who knows? Not the weather guy. Okay, it's official. I have calendula planted at the end of the first 6 rows. And that is all that I had. So I actually think I might plant some more seed direct sow pretty soon. We'll see. Oh no, you guys. It's starting to rain. I'm trying to take care of some of my stuff in case it starts downpouring and I have to like make a break for it. So it doesn't look like I'm gonna get the cucumbers planted today because I still have to put the trellis up, and I don't think that I'm gonna plant any of the watermelon or zucchini today either, but I really want to get this stuff that I'm starting from seed in, especially the corn and the beans. So I think I'm gonna take care of some of my stuff so that it doesn't get rained on, and I'm just gonna try to start getting the beans and stuff in. Hopefully it doesn't pour on me. But it is nice to have it rain after you plant some seeds, because then you don't have to go and water so much. So I was trying to get the corn planted, but the corn and my jalapenos are sharing a row. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't take away any space from my jalapenos, because I want to have at least 30 jalapeno plants. So I thought, I hadn't planted the jalapenos yet, so I thought that I would just stake them out. Because I use these stakes. These are the 4-foot, I don't know what they're made out of, some kind of plasticky material. And they kind of have these ridges on them. I'll link these below. These are my favorite stakes. They're awesome for jalapenos. They'd be awesome for a lot of things. They're really good for broccoli and stuff like that. So cauliflower. So anyways, I am just measuring out. I put my jalapenos every 12 inches. So I'm just measuring them out real quick and putting a stake in. That way when I come back through and actually plant them. I won't have to measure them, but I wanted to get the corn done first because I'm planting them direct sow from seed, and I really can't afford to not get them in the ground. I probably should have had them in the ground even a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, I don't want to wait on any of the stuff that needs to be planted from seed. I don't want to wait because I need to get them growing. The jalapenos are already growing and doing well in their pots, so they can wait. But yes, but I didn't want to encroach on my space for them, so I am putting these in real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish the corn. So I've got about 22 done already, and this is how I'm doing it. I am literally just using a ruler on the ground and then jamming my stake in to the ground. And I'm trying to make them all uniform. Alright, well, it's starting to rain and my family is hungry, so I have to quit for the day. I guess that means that's all for this video. I did not get the entire garden planted, but I got the majority of things, I think. I still have to get the zucchini in the ground, which there's only about 8 total. And then the watermelon as well. And let's see, what do I got over there? The cucumbers, which is really important. Tomatoes and cucumbers are our biggest crop by far. And also the jalapenos. I have to get the jalapenos in as well. So, other than that, also, of course, I still have all of my herbs that I have to put somewhere. I'm hoping to get raised bed going and get my herb garden started, but I will at least have them planted somewhere. So in pots, in buckets, wherever. Hopefully in a raised bed. And I hope to get a raised bed of strawberries yet this year. But other than that, we got a lot. We got a lot planted today, so I guess I am happy with that. The garden's looking really, really good. I'm still fiddling with the sprinklers, so I'm dragging a hose up and down these huge aisles, and it's pretty difficult. So hopefully I get something figured out. It's what I can find locally or what I need to order and how much it costs. Price and time is a huge factor for why I'm having such trouble with figuring out water. And I don't need to water daily. I mean, it's raining right now. I don't need to water every day. Once, maybe twice a week when it's really hot is all I need. But it's just too difficult to pull a hose down a 70-foot row, 10 70-foot rows without crushing plants or taking other plants out and stuff. So, but thank you guys for joining me today in this video. I hope that it was helpful to you or inspiring to you in some way, and I hope that it benefited you in some way or another. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.